Hello and welcome to the SMEsouk Podcast, brought to you by Rakbank Business. My name is Richard Dean, I'm a journalist, and it's my pleasure to be the host of the SMEsouk Podcast for the second series. Why are we here? Well, the whole point is that small businesses, owners and workers have got a bunch of questions about a bunch of issues, and we're going to put them to subject matter experts. Today's subject is this: leveraging the AI advantage. And who better to speak to about AI than the team at Microsoft? So my guest today is Tariq Halawani, Executive Director, Enterprise Solutions at Microsoft UAE. Tariq, good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Richard.
So we're talking about AI and the advantage that small businesses can take from it, can leverage that advantage. So in your words, in simple terms, what's in it, AI? Not just a buzzword, what's in it for small businesses?
Maybe let me start with a little bit of reflection on AI and the technical revolution that we're going through these days. And it feels like we are really in this age where the dream of AI that we had, where machines understand human language, is pretty much there. It has been a dream for the industry for the last 50 years, and all the tech innovations have been pushing the envelope towards getting machines to be as creative. And it really feels we are in that age today. On SMEs specifically, I think Gen AI has changed so many things over the last 18 months. And we're seeing SMEs in particular making use and leveraging the advantage of AI in unlocking productivity levels for their small number of teams, their employees, but also reimagining customer experience, especially thinking of new customer channels and how they serve customers and how they get basically to learn about their customers and their customers' behavior and acquiring new customers, but also creating efficiencies around back-end processes in terms of automating and optimizing some of the back-end processes an SME would require to run their business.
Okay, well, you three things there you've touched on that every SME owner is going to like. One is productivity, one is winning new customers, and one is being more efficient in the back end. That's more revenue and less cost. So let's unpick each of those in turns. First of all, in terms of winning new customers, that's the essence, isn't it? How can AI help? Or to use the topic of today, how can small businesses leverage AI in terms of the advantage when it comes to winning new customers and satisfying existing ones?
And look, we think about AI playing a role in winning new customers, and also AI playing a critical role in selling more to existing customers. So I think AI today has a potential to digest and consume massive amount of data. We see a lot of SMEs acquiring data from different sources just to point them into the right customer and the right customer segment to go after, and what it takes to really acquire those customers. So an AI with the intelligence new LLMs models are cutting some cycles for SMEs in that space. But also we're seeing a lot of intelligence in terms of how do you basically retain existing customers and go after an upsell opportunity, of course, through keeping a happy customer, increasing customer satisfaction. And you see there's a massive innovation that is happening in the customer experience that you feel if you look at some of those mobile apps leveraging the new LLM models. It really feels like you're getting a human-like experience talking to some of those virtual agents. And I use some of those personally, and I know for a fact I'm paying a lot more and I'm buying a lot more products by using those applications.
But the SME owners, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, the guy who owns a chicken processing plant in Ajman or a travel agent in Sharjah is thinking, well, that sounds great. LLMs and CRM systems and services of software, but they don't know how this stuff works because they are chicken processors or travel agents, not tech people. A lot of small businesses don't have an IT department. So how can those companies leverage AI? How is it accessible to the non-expert?
So we're building all of this to be super accessible for all customers. And I think whether the new AI models or the applications platforms or the data platforms, they're all available on Microsoft Cloud in one place. And with minimal efforts around coding for you to assemble and build the next generation app. So that's an opportunity for SMEs. But also it is about partnering still with the right technology partner to have, they still need some help in picking the right partner who would basically assemble that ecosystem together. But what I'm trying to tell you, Richard, it's a lot easier than before to build those apps and go to market, because the whole ecosystem that you would need exists in one place. Natural integration between the LLMs, the applications, the API gateways, the data sources, it's all in place. It feels like a Lego box that SMEs can go and just assemble the app they want, look at the customer experience, monitor it, understand their customer, and keep tuning it on the go.
Well, Tariq, how about something even more simple than that? Microsoft Office. I suspect every SME that's watching this or listening to this uses Microsoft Office in some sense. And now we have Copilot. It's a relatively new addition, but it's AI. And you've crunched the numbers on the productivity. On average, users reported daily time savings of 14 minutes or 1.2 hours a week. 2/3 of users say Copilot saved them time so they could focus on more important work. Again, music to the ears of a SME owner or the HR department, whose salaries are the biggest expense for many of them.
Yeah, and honestly, productivity is probably the low-hanging fruit, could be the quickest win any organization, big or small, can achieve with AI and with technology like Copilot. So think about it. Let's say, learning how to say something in 30 seconds or draft an email that takes average people 5 minutes is a major unlock. Or summarizing a financial report in 5 minutes that usually takes 2 hours is a major productivity gain. And that's exactly what basically SMEs in particular can benefit from. So massive productivity unlock across the board for all industries. We're seeing this every day. I use it personally, and I basically feel that productivity gain day in and day out.
And Microsoft Teams, you've mentioned this to me before. You don't just have the meeting on Teams, but certainly, as if by magic, a report is generated on the back of it. The minutes are there for you. It's all done. Key
Absolutely.
Recommendations and takeaways.
So Copilot is now pretty much embedded into all our products. So it's more of a capability that exists in every software, in every product, rather than just one product. And that's why you'll find Copilot in Outlook, in Teams, in Office, in Excel. But back to the example you mentioned, because that's really something I enjoy every day. Copilot in Teams really helps me summarize my meetings, write the minutes of meeting, assign the tasks, and follow up on those tasks with the action owners every day. But also some of the meetings that I'm not able to attend, I get my virtual assistant, my Copilot, to attend those meetings for me on my behalf and send me the summary afterwards. That's extremely powerful, and I think that's something that all organizations are benefiting from today with Copilot.
Let's talk about the back end of these businesses. You talked about selling. Obviously, that's critical for all companies, including SMEs. But the back end, you talk about automating tedious tasks. Because SMEs spend a lot of money on this back end, don't they? Whether it's staff or whether it's systems and processes, legacy systems. You've used that phrase before.
Yeah.
If you can speak to an SME owner or finance director and say, we can not only simplify these tedious tasks, but make them cheaper, then their ears are going to prick up. What can be done?
So, and maybe I have an example in mind to share here. So the good thing about SMEs is that they don't inherit this legacy debt when it comes to technology, and which gives them an opportunity to think in unconventional ways. For example, any SME who would come 2 years ago and said, like, I want basically a single platform to build customer records, to keep one customer record and just basically have one platform where I can store all my customer records. Everyone would go and position some of those basically CRM systems. Today, there are new ways we can employ AI, and we have those offerings in the market, and we're seeing that startups offering those, which basically can collect your customer data in an unconventional way and get it basically shaped up, saved in a very accessible manner for the SME. So this was basically a massive undertaking for an SME to build a large CRM system. If you're not an enterprise and you have to build a CRM system, it would have been a tedious task. Today, they can jump into some of those SaaS platforms powered by AI, and it helps in collecting and keeping that customer data always up to date.
If we look at some of the potential risks associated with this, and your colleagues, people like Satya Nadella, the CEO, have talked about some of the, what's his phrase, unintended consequences potentially of AI. He's very aware of them. Another one of your colleagues, Brad Smith, president of Microsoft, both regular visitors to the UAE, I might add, has talked about we need to put guardrails in place. You're very familiar with this. What are you doing for SMEs, or what can be done for SMEs to make sure that AI is a force predominantly for good?
So, and we try as much as possible to take part of this burden on our side. So there is of course, everything we do runs on trust, and we take basically ethical and responsible usage of AI very seriously. So we design for safety, for equity, in the very first phase of designing every product we have. But at the same time, we help basically SMEs in having responsible and ethical AI frameworks. I think they need a lot of help when it comes on how to adopt and how to use AI in an ethical way, in a responsible manner. While, like I said, we take part of the job and the design of the product on the technology side when it comes to customer privacy, the data privacy, the safety of the technology. There are things that we need to do while we're doing the adoption and the implementation, and those are the frameworks that we build and we equip SMEs to adopt as they embrace new technologies like AI.
Let's talk about generative AI. Of course, Microsoft at the forefront of this. We know about its investment in OpenAI and ChatGPT, but generative AI is a bigger conversation than that. In what ways can SMEs in the UAE and beyond use generative AI beyond just having a bit of fun and creating a pretty picture? What can be done? What are the real use cases and applications that you're seeing companies using?
Look, I think we spoke a lot about productivity, which I believe is a horizontal use case for every industry, for every business to benefit from. But if we jump more into the industry use cases, we're seeing a lot of innovation happening in, let's say, life sciences, in accelerating research. And we have basically LLM models and AI models that are basically massive in size. Just to give you an idea, I think the largest AI model before Gen AI that we had in 2019 included like 1.5 billion parameters of intelligence. A GPT model today, like 4.0, includes 1.5 trillion parameters of intelligence. That gives you basically an idea about the scale and basically the intelligence amount that is sitting over there. This is helping a lot in life sciences and research, but also it's helping in industries like healthcare, where think about some of SMEs trying to build those telemedicine platforms, some drug delivery companies, and you have now AI playing a critical role in augmenting those virtual doctors, remote doctors, or in basically having the telemedicine platform with a patient journey end to end. So those are those are business models that were not possible before, Richard, and we're seeing a lot of SMEs making use of that today.
Let's talk about education, because Satya Nadella talks a lot about education. I was at his speech in Abu Dhabi in late 2023, so were you, and he talked glowingly about some of the work that Microsoft and others are doing with the UAE when it comes to AI in education. Then a few weeks later at Davos at the World Economic Forum, he mentioned the UAE and what it's doing in education in his Davos World Economic Forum address, which was interesting, which gave me a warm glow to see the UAE highlighted by Satya Nadella on the world stage. But in practical terms, what's happening? What's he so excited about in education? And then take it a step further, what can other SMEs learn from that and apply that?
Actually, it's incredible to see some of that work happening in UAE. What Satya spoke about was a basically AI-enabled tutor. It's a project we've worked on with the Ministry of Education. And the idea is, how can we get an AI-enabled tutor to tailor education for students and to better understand their style and speed of learning? Education as we know it today, classroom-based, it's one teacher, 30, 40 kids. It's more of a one-size-fits-all type of approach. And we wanted every student to have an AI tutor that understands that students really well and his learning preferences really well. And that AI tutor would work hand in hand with the physical teacher. So I think there is back-end reporting and insights on the work that the student's doing outside the classroom. And this is a project we've built here in UAE, and it's quickly becoming actually an IP for the company that worked with us, the partner who is also a startup in UAE. And actually, Satya was super excited. We were very excited, and we were showing the world this work, and it's becoming quickly a best practice that other Ministry of Educations across the world are adopting.
How well is this working in Arabic? And I speak to you as a native Arabic speaker.
Yeah, I would invite you actually to try that on Copilot to get the real answer. It's really good. So I think GPT-4, the latest edition that we've had along with OpenAI, is actually not only good in Arabic. It really understands the language differences and nuances and the different delicates from the region. So Arabic support is pretty much there, and it's well advanced at this stage.
Can we talk about fraud and fraud detection?
Sure.
There's probably not an SME in the UAE or indeed anywhere who hasn't been the victim of some kind of attempted financial fraud, whether it's hacking or email compromise or whatever it may be. What can AI do to minimize that?
To be able to combat some of those threats in real time, you need to have massive intelligence and large, AI models in place. So I know that some of the SMEs won't have the capacity to build teams, so they outsource this function usually. I think it's important to work with one of those basically companies who leverage AI at scale to combat some of those threats. So we see a lot of startups who are heavily specialized in this domain that offer services into SMEs. Because it still requires some monitoring, some updates, some tracking. So I think it's critical to choose the right partner, and it's critical to use and leverage the right technology when it comes to fraud detection.
Some of the other issues that people are asking us about, the costs of AI. I know in your job title is enterprise. You are the Executive Director of Enterprise Solutions for Microsoft UAE, large companies and governments which have big budgets for this. But a lot of SMEs have very limited budgets. And again, one of the things that Satya has talked about is equity, the fact that AI has to be available for all. It can't just be available for the haves, it has to be for the have-nots. How can we make this very expensive technology, and it is expensive, it's very energy hungry as well, so there is a cost associated with it. How do we make it more broadly accessible?
That's a very good question, and that's basically if we reflect over the last 20 years, the first AI systems that we've seen, you almost needed to build a data center to host an AI system, right? So they used to be shipped basically with the massive compute and storage, and you have to have it in a building and power it on and so on and so forth. From the get-go, I think Microsoft, along other tech companies, saw an opportunity in democratizing AI. So today, the way it's built on cloud infrastructure. I think cloud is, as an underlying infrastructure, is helping a lot in democratizing AI. Today, most of our customers can get access to all these AI services. It's on consumption basis. They pay for what they use. It gives them an opportunity always to experiment. So the entry point is really easy and small. So of course, you need to think always of where is this going to go, and think about the business model and how much consumption are you going to basically reach at in year 1, in year 2, and year 3. Some planning is still required over there. Uh, the energy part is probably the one that is that we need to think about, and I think it's less about the compute or the storage. It's mostly the energy. Just to give you an idea, I think when I spoke about those intelligence parameters growing by 10x, that's also the growth on the energy demand by those basically AI models. And that's why I think Microsoft, for instance, as a hyperscaler, we're very conscious about now looking at how do we basically fuel and bring energy, renewable energy, into all our data centers, part of our 2030 sustainability pledge. I think we made actually a commitment to have all our data centers that host all those GPUs and AI models 100% running on renewable energy. And that's basically an effort, a continuous effort that I know Microsoft and even other hyperscalers are doing today.
So, in terms of using it at SME, at home or in the office, I'm going to see the battery on my phone or my laptop draining if I'm using Copilot.
The back-end, actually, Copilot, I think the back-end processing that requires the energy is happening on the data center, not on the phone.
So it's not on the phone?
Not at this point in time.
Yeah.
I think it's evolving to get there. I think AI is going to get from the cloud to the edge as well. So we're starting to see some small language models, basically some AI tools being deployed on the phone. So yes, very soon, even your battery has to double in size.
Yeah, well, that was ever thus. Let's wrap up by looking at some quick wins that SMEs can get. People are listening to this and saying, okay, great, I get that. But what can I actually do? If we start at the back end and operational efficiency, what are some of the things that SME owners or finance directors, or maybe if it's a medium-sized company, the tech department, can do quickly and easily to embrace AI and make the business at the back end run more efficiently, either with a Microsoft product or anything else for that matter? What are the quick wins?
So some of the quick wins, if you think about basically, and of course it varies based on the industry that SME is in and what type of application landscape they have. I think as a platform company, we wanted to make sure that we have the entire ecosystem, the Lego box, if you like, an SME would need in one place so that they can assemble those applications, right, without having to even code or hire someone to code. So AI is directly linked to another technology called low code, no code. So that gives an opportunity for SME to build apps very quickly without having to hire developers, use AI actually to code, and that's also available. And not only it gives them time to market, but also it eliminates the need for hiring developers in this case, or hiring companies to build applications. That ecosystem is all in one place. So we're giving them access to the technology, to the application platform, to the data platform, and also the APIs they need. Some of those SMEs, they would still need basically to bring data or acquire data from different places. So we give them also the layer that would help them fetch that data that is relevant to their business and build it from within the apps they have. So we think platform, we make that ecosystem available for them so that they can build apps quickly and go to market even quicker.
Okay, that's at the back end. What about the front end? Marketing, sales, customer experience. What can be done there? We've touched on this. We've touched on things like generative AI and others, but
Yeah.
What are the quick wins there in terms of the customer-facing experience?
Yeah, so I think Gen AI gave us a new breed of basically virtual assistants, customer chatbots with a human-like experience that we've never seen before. And this is really transforming how we do customer service, right? Especially super important for SMEs who don't have also the scale, the capacity to have call centers or large teams in sitting in call centers to go after those customers. So more and more AI is taking the burden of basically creating a human-like customer experience, at the same time augmenting. If you are in a business where you still have some human interaction with basically your customers, we're augmenting human ability by getting AI to guide the agents on what to ask, how to serve the customer, what to expect, right? So you'll see basically AI doing most of the work for those basically agents on call with a customer. So I think customer experience is a major winner, whether you're a retailer, whether you're a small shop, or whether you're in financial services. You'll find some new possibilities, new consumer channels, new virtual assistants and chatbots with a human-like experience that we've never seen before.
Okay, so Tariq, final question. AI sounds great. I'm sold. Leveraging the benefits of AI for small businesses, but I'm worried. Is it going to steal my job? Is it going to steal your job? Is it going to steal all our jobs?
I don't think it's AI who will steal our jobs, Richard. It's basically those people who use AI. And I think AI is there to stay. It augments the human capability. So I think we better think of how we leverage AI to get smarter and to get more productive.
Tariq, great talk to you. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Richard.
On the SMEsouk Podcast. The thoughts there of Tariq Halawani, the Executive Director of Enterprise Solutions, Microsoft UAE. Thanks very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.
And join us again on the next episode of the SMEsouk Podcast.